Townsmen VR initially had me confused whether to purchase it or not, because there wasn't much written media or reviews about the version for PlayStation VR2. Let's take a look at it today so you know whether to make the right purchase. So to start off with the gameplay of this game, well, let's firstly talk about what kind of game this is. I looked at the visuals and thought, maybe this is like a God type of game where you can control things from above. And that's what it seems like from the images and screenshots and the videos you see online. However, that couldn't be further from what this game actually is. Instead, this game feels a little bit more like a Farmville or farming simulator type of game, but with less freedom. There's set objectives that you have to follow, and as you start building the island up with houses and progressing more, the game just then takes that all away and puts you on a new map with nothing. The objective of the game is to build up your area so that your villagers can survive on the island. You can build houses, wells, cabins, stonemasons and so on. To build the items, just simply pop up your build menu and select from the category. Place it onto the ground and your workers will begin building as long as they have the resources. You'll be able to zoom right in and see your character interacting and building your chosen selection. You can even interact with the village well by turning the handle, and to take it a step further you can glance down into the well and see the water. You can give any of your islanders a role at any time. Take this fisherman for example. We're going to pick him up and place him onto the tavern. He'll now be reallocated as a chef. It's that simple. There are also some combat elements to this game. You can gather together some soldiers and have them fight incoming invaders. You can get archers and gladiators to battle them and they'll have a fight to the death right in front of you. Around the island there are hidden treasure chests which contain materials to help you build your island. These are fun to go ahead and seek out and you'll find them valuable to your resource collection. At the beginning of the game the treasure chests are more easy to find, however as the game goes on it's got a more increasing difficulty as to where they're located, for example behind a waterfall. There is a way to cheat this system however. You can just go ahead and pull your character under the map and use your VR headset to look around and see the treasure chest from under the map, but this takes out all the fun so I wouldn't recommend doing this. The way you traverse around the map and the camera movement in this game is also quite poor. You have the option to zoom in and out by closing or extending your arms left and right. You can then use a single remote to pull yourself closer or further away from an object. However, where this fails is that there's no consistency to this. Sometimes you'll be pulling in twice and you'll be fully zoomed in, and then other times you could pull 6, 7 or 8 times and not get anywhere. It's all just a bad system that would have been easily resolved by allowing you to control the camera with the analog sticks on the PSVR2 controllers. Why this wasn't implemented, I will never know. You can interact with every single NPC and even the clouds above your head. You can throw clouds together to make a bigger cloud. And then you can take that big grey cloud you've created and place it in the middle of the map, and you'll even get a shadow rendered on the ground. The only disappointing thing with this however is it's purely cosmetic, it doesn't actually affect your gameplay. I would have expected with a grey cloud like this to see it start raining on my characters, which would have been really impressive on the visuals, but nothing like that happens. So the game surprises me with one thing but then lets me down with another. I did find myself encountering a lack of space, especially in the earlier maps of the game. At one point in the game I tried to place a farm down, however to find that I couldn't place it even on open areas that had nothing built. I'm not sure if this is intentional because there was a slope on the area, but it felt like I should have still been able to build in some of these areas. What's more is there's no options to re-level the ground, so you can't make the ground flat to actually go ahead with your construction. And then as a further annoyance, you can't move any of the previous buildings you've placed, so you have to completely destroy them and rebuild them at a later date. So you better make sure when you build your island, everything's in the right place. You can go underwater and interact with the fishes. As your hand gets close to them, they'll swim away from you and get scared. You can add a chef to a tavern so you can watch him cook up the meats that your hunter has collected. There's just a really nice aesthetic feeling about zooming in and being among your villagers in the village you've created. You can hit the church to hear the bell ring, and if you get bored with dialogue, you can slap the characters in the face and they'll react to it. I did encounter a very annoying sound bug that seems to be present in every single map of the PSVR2 version. When picking a character up, you can place them into the sea, and you can go in the water and hear them drown. You can then place them back on dry land and save them. However, what I found is that there was random drowning sounds occurring at the corners of the map for no reason with no characters drowning. I went right in the water to find the body, and there was nothing there. I even went under the map and to the deepest point you can get, had a good look round, even on the shore of the beach, and there's absolutely no characters there drowning. It just seems to be a bug. I even glitched into the map itself to see if there was a character stuck, and there's nobody there. We can confirm this is a bug by going onto a different map in a different location and hearing exactly the same thing replicated. I really had no idea what was going on, but it just doesn't feel intentional like it's supposed to be part of the game, so I'm going to assume it's a bug. So let's talk about something more positive within the game. The graphics on this game are absolutely stunning. Yes, everything has a cartoony look to it, but it's all rendered in high definition. You could be fully zoomed out the map and be able to see your whole island, and then gradually you can zoom in and go right up close to the character models, and everything is rendered in an extremely high definition. It doesn't take any buffer time to render, and there's not that much texture pop in that you would think there would be. Getting down on eye level with the characters as well gives you a really personal touch to the world you've created. I was really impressed with the level of detail, from the tiny little bunny rabbits in the game you can find to the birds flying above. You can interact with almost everything. It just feels great to go down to the character eye level and see the world from their perspective. The character models are all rendered in high definition. They may be at a low poly count, but they still look fantastic.
Brilliant! The woodcutter can now saw the logs into boards. We need them for the construction of many buildings.
The game does have various skyboxes to replicate the day or the night sky. When looking at the skybox, it's clear to see. However, you'll quickly realise that it doesn't move. It's just a still image, so it takes away from the immersion. With the detail in the game to be able to move the clouds around, you'd think they'd actually implement a decent weather system with a real sky, but nothing like that happens here. What's important to remember, however, is that Townsmen VR is a port of the mobile game originally by the developer Handy Games. This port has also been handled by Handy Games, so it's really nice to see the whole game brought to life by the same developer in virtual reality in a 3D environment in such high definition. And this is where my complaints for the game tie together, the high price point. In the UK, the game's $34.99, in the US $31.99, but this is still a high price point for the type of game this is, essentially just a port of a mobile game. By comparison, Walkabout Mini Golf VR is a far superior game in the UK based only at $11.99. That game offers far more features, has far better functionality, and an online mode, all for a third of the cost. In summary, the game is fairly fun to play, and it is one of the only God simulators on the PSVR2 platform at the moment. However, it's hindered by a few bugs, awkward controls, and a high price point. But it's not really a true God simulator. This is where the game struggles from an identity crisis. Whilst you can scroll around the map and go wherever you want, you won't be able to actually progress unless you do exactly what the game wants you to do, so you end up going down the same path anyway. You'll be given a set list of instructions to follow, and without following these instructions, you won't get any further in the game, simple as that. There's also a limit on the buildings you can place down, so you can't just go ahead and build a massive town if you felt like it. And by the time you've put in all the work to build your huge town, the game just takes it all away and puts you on the next level. There is a sandbox mode in the game as well, so you can build whatever you like. The problem is the maps are far too small. You can zoom all the way out of the map, take a look around the skybox, and see just how small the island is compared to the actual size of the map. You'll be able to fully craft your village in the space of 15 to 20 minutes, and then you'll be bored and be back to have nothing to do again. If you're going to pick up this game, I'd recommend waiting till it goes on a sale, and even then, I'd probably be only willing to pay about 50% of the original asking price. You can replay the levels if you want to, but you just won't want to. It's a kind of one said and done type of game. Once it's done, it's done. Personally, I would have liked to be able to play this game online with a friend and build a world together, or maybe have online battles with other players. But for all those reasons above, it stamps this game in at a 6 out of 10.